My name is Alana Pierce. I'm 33 years old, and for the first time in my life, I'm telling a story I never thought I'd survive long enough to speak out loud. From the outside, everyone thought I was gone, just a breathing body sustained by machines, eyes half open but empty, frozen in a hospital bed like a wilted plant. A vegetable, a lost cause, a tragedy. But on the inside, I was more alert than I had ever been, more aware, more terrified, more determined, because while my body couldn't move, my mind was memorizing every terrifying detail of what my husband whispered when he thought I was unconscious. Every sick, twisted plan he made for my death, every moment he believed he was safe from consequences. But before I take you into the nightmare of that hospital room, before I tell you exactly how I survived my own murder, I need to take you back to the beginning, back to before the machines, before the accident, before the betrayal I never saw coming, back to when I still believed I was loved. For most people, marriage is a partnership. For me, it was a blindfold, and I wore it proudly. I met my husband, Aaron, when I was 24 and working as a physical therapist. He walked into my clinic with a sports injury and a smile that could melt steel. Confident, charming, successful, he was everything I thought stability looked like. Within 2 years, we were married. A small wedding on the coast. White dress, happy tears, vows about forever. I believed every word. He didn't. For nearly a decade, we played the part of the perfect couple, the kind who hosted dinner parties, took anniversary trips, posted smiling photos, and fooled everyone, including me. I worked full-time in rehab therapy, and he managed a private investment firm that I thought was his pride and joy. I never realized it was actually falling apart, or that he blamed me for his failures, or that the woman he was mentoring at work wasn't just a mentee. But even before the betrayal, something about Aaron always felt different. He was calculated in a way that didn't show unless you were looking closely. The kind of man who turned apologies into performances. The kind who made you question your reality with the softest tone. A master of twisting the truth until you doubted your own memory. Still, I thought we were solid, stable, safe. God, I was naive. The first crack in our marriage wasn't dramatic. It was small, so subtle I almost missed it. Aaron started working late, really late. And when he came home, he smelled of perfume I didn't own. He said it was from clients. He changed his passwords. He started hiding his phone. He started leaving his wedding ring on the bathroom counter. One night, when I joked about it, he smiled and said, "Don't worry, babe, I'm not going anywhere." But the way he said it made my stomach twist. It didn't sound like reassurance. It sounded like a warning. Still, I loved him. So I swallowed the unease like poison. The accident happened on a Tuesday. Funny how normal the day started. Coffee, cold weather, a patient who was making great progress. Aaron had taken my car the night before, saying his needed maintenance. I didn't question it. Why would I? I got into the driver's seat after work, turned on the ignition, and the engine made a sound I had never heard before, like metal grinding against metal. But when I texted him about it, he replied instantly, "It's fine. The car was acting weird yesterday too. Just drive slow." I trusted him. I drove. Halfway through the intersection near our house, the brakes failed. Not softened, not weakened, failed. My foot went straight to the floor, and the car didn't slow, not even a little. I remember gripping the wheel, swerving, seeing headlights barreling toward me, hearing someone scream, "Me." I think it was me. Then metal collided. Glass exploded. The world spun into violent color, and then everything went black. When I woke, I wasn't really awake. I floated in a place between life and death. I couldn't move my arms, couldn't open my eyes fully, couldn't speak, couldn't twitch even a finger. But I could hear everything, every voice, every footstep, every conversation, every secret. Doctors called it locked-in syndrome. A nightmare where your mind is awake, but your body is a prison. I wanted to scream, but I was silent. I wanted to run. but I was still. And while I lay there, helpless, broken, unmoving, Aaron visited once, twice, then every day. From the outside, he looked like a grieving husband, holding my hand, brushing my hair, resting his forehead against mine like he couldn't bear to lose me. But when he thought nurses weren't around, when he thought I was just a vegetable, when he thought no one could hear, his voice changed. Cold, calculated, clinical. And then I learned the truth that stole whatever was left of my breath. The accident wasn't an accident. The brake failure wasn't fate. The car trouble wasn't a coincidence. He planned it, all of it. And now, standing beside my bed, thinking I couldn't hear, he was finalizing step 2 of his plan, finishing what the crash didn't. He told someone on the phone, "She won't last much longer. I just need the right moment." He told a woman, his mistress, "Don't worry, I'll take care of her soon." He told a doctor, maybe it's kinder to let her go. But I memorized every word, every name, every detail of how my own husband planned to kill me. And then the nurse noticed something, a tear sliding down my cheek, a blink I shouldn't have been able to make, a reaction no vegetable could give. She leaned close to me, whispering, her voice trembling, "Alana, if you can hear me, blink again." I did. Her eyes widened with terror. Then she whispered the words that changed everything. "Oh God, he thinks you're gone, but you're not, and I'm going to help you." The moment Nurse Riley realized I wasn't just a hollow shell lying in that bed, something shifted in the room, like the atmosphere tightened, like the universe held its breath. For weeks, people had talked around me, over me, through me. But now, for the first time, someone was talking to me. Riley's eyes glistened with something between fear and determination. Not fear of me, fear for me. She leaned closer, lowering her voice until it barely stirred the air. "Alana, I need you to listen. I know you can't move. I know you're trapped. But you're not alone anymore. I'm right here. Blink once for yes if you understand." It took everything in me, every shred of will, to pull my eyelid down just enough to count as a blink. It cost me strength I didn't know I had left. But I did it. Her breath caught. "Oh my God," she whispered. "You can hear me." She straightened, her hands shaking as they hovered above the bed rails. "I knew something was off," she said under her breath. "Your vitals spike whenever he comes. Your eyes tear up. Nobody noticed but me. Nobody but her." One person in that entire building had bothered to look deeper. She checked the hallway to make sure no one was coming, then moved back to my side. "Okay, Alana, listen. I need to ask you something really important. Did someone hurt you? Blink once for yes." I blinked, hard, her face tightened with dread. "Was it your husband?" Blink. She inhaled sharply and had to place a hand on the bed rail to steady herself. "Oh God," her voice cracked. Okay, I hear you." Her mind was racing. I could see it in her eyes. She knew something was very, very wrong, but she didn't know how deep the rot went. Not yet. She closed the curtain partially and pulled a small rolling stool close to my head. "Alana, I'm going to ask a few things. You blink once for yes, twice for no. We'll take it slow, I promise." I braced myself. This was the first time someone was actually listening. Riley leaned in. "Did your husband hurt you before the accident?" 2 blinks. "No." "Did he try to hurt you with the accident?" 1 blink. "Yes." Her face went pale. Did he tamper with the car?" Blink. She closed her eyes for a moment, steadying her breath. "Okay, I believe you. I do, but I need more." "Did he talk about finishing it?" Blink. Riley jerked back as if the word itself had struck her. She covered her mouth. "Oh God, you're telling me he's planning to kill you." Another blink. She looked like she might cry, but she didn't. Instead, she wiped her face quickly, straightened her shoulders, and her voice changed, a nurse's calm replaced by a warrior's resolve. "Then we don't have time," she whispered. She checked the hallway again, then lowered her voice even more. "Alana, listen to me carefully. I'm going to get help, real help, but I need proof. I need something no one can twist or cover up. She paused, thinking, planning, calculating. Then her eyes sharpened. Your husband visits around the same time every day, right? Blink. And when he comes, he talks. He says things he shouldn't say. Blink. Okay, she whispered. Then tonight when he comes, we're recording everything. I felt my heart monitor spike. Recording? A lifeline, a weapon, a chance. Riley's jaw set. I'm going to hide my phone behind your bed where he can't see it. I'll put it on voice activation. The moment he speaks, it'll start recording. More heart spikes. Fear, hope, both. Riley noticed, her expression softening. I know you're scared, but we need evidence. Without it, it's just your word against his. And you can't speak yet. Her voice trembled on the last words. She placed a gentle hand on my wrist. Warm, steady, human. You're not dying on my watch, she whispered fiercely. Just then, the door opened, and the man who wanted me dead walked in. Aaron, my husband. His cologne hit first, sharp, expensive, suffocating. Then the sound of his shoes tapping rhythmically on tile, confident, entitled, completely unaware that the woman he tried to kill was mentally cataloging every step he took. Riley moved quickly, shifting into her professional mask, the mask that said everything is normal. Oh, Mr. Pierce, she exclaimed lightly, you're here for your wife's check-in? Aaron smiled. That same charming, polished smile he'd used on me for years. A smile that looks different now. A smile that hides rot beneath the surface. Of course, he replied smoothly. I just want to see how she's doing. Doing. He meant dying. Riley kept her posture straight, smiling politely, but her hand hidden behind her clipboard trembled. I'll give you some time alone, she said politely. Then, without turning her head, she stepped beside me, adjusted my blanket, and whispered so quietly he couldn't hear, Stay calm, I'll be right outside. Then she slipped out. The door clicked shut, and I was alone with him, alone with the man who already believed I was halfway buried. He dragged a chair over to my bedside, its metal legs scraping the floor in a way that sent a violent chill through me. He sat down, and he exhaled a long, frustrated sigh, the kind you'd release when waiting for something to finally collapse. His voice changed instantly. Gone was the soft, grieving husband act he'd put on for the nurses. Now it was cold, sharp, flat. Why aren't you dead yet? My heart spiked so violently the monitor beeped a warning. He looked at it and smirked. Tisk, still fighting, huh? Amazing. You never fought for our marriage like this. He leaned closer, so close I could feel his breath brush my cheek. You should have stayed quiet before, should have listened, should have let me handle things. He exhaled sharply again. This afternoon, I'll talk to the doctor about ending this. Ending. Me. My heart pounded. He continued, It's the only way out now. And you won't even know it's happening. Peaceful, quick. If only he knew. If only he knew I heard every word. If only he knew Riley was outside recording everything. And if only he knew that my mind, the mind he thought was gone, was memorizing every syllable to bury him with. Aaron leaned back in the chair, crossing his legs like he was sitting in his office instead of beside the woman he tried to kill. His voice dropped to a whisper, sharp, venomous, practiced. You know, this would have all been easier if you just stayed out of the way. My heart thudded. Monitors beeped soft warnings. He smirked at them. Look at you, weak, pathetic, hooked up to machines that cost more per day than you made in a month. He laughed quietly. And you think I'm going to keep paying for that, for you? His tone wasn't angry, just annoyed. Annoyed that I wasn't dead yet. Annoyed that I was an inconvenience. He leaned closer, voice as cold as steel. You ruined everything. My company, my reputation, my life. And now I have to clean up your mess before it gets worse. Mess. That's what I was to him. A chore. He exhaled sharply. If you just listened to me, just trusted me, none of this would have been necessary, like killing me was some practical item on a checklist. My heart rate spiked again, and the machine beeped louder. Aaron's eyes darted toward the screen. Oh, did you hear that? He whispered, tilting his head. Are you in there, Lana? He said it with a smirk, like he wanted it to be true, like he hoped I was trapped inside this silent body, aware and helpless. He leaned in even closer, his lips inches from my ear. I hope you can hear me. I really do. I want you to know exactly why this is happening. My pulse hammered. Sweat prickled along my hairline. He smoothed a strand of my hair back, pretending tenderness, but in his eyes, nothing but ice. You were always too soft, too trusting, too naive. You believed people were good. You thought I was good. He laughed under his breath. I'm not. He sat back again, adjusting his watch, the gold face catching the fluorescent light. I've been planning this for months, you know, he said casually, long before the accident, long before you started asking questions. The air felt thin. My mind screamed inside the prison of my body. He tapped his fingers on the bedrail. And Marissa? She understands me. She doesn't ask stupid questions. She doesn't doubt me. She doesn't get in my way. Marissa, his mistress, the woman who had stood in our kitchen months ago while I thought she was just someone he mentored. He sighed dramatically. We'll be able to start fresh once this is done. Clean slate, no debts, no complications, no you. He said it like erasing me was just a financial decision. For a moment he went silent, too silent. The kind of silence that fills with anticipation. Then he suddenly grabbed my hand. I wanted to flinch. I wanted to rip my arm away, but my body didn't move. His grip tightened. You know what the doctor said this morning, he whispered. He said there's no improvement, no brain activity worth saving. Lie. It was a lie, but he needed that lie. He said if I chose to let you go, no one would question it. My pulse raced violently. The machine wailed in distress. Aaron squeezed harder. You're going to die today, Lana, and I'm going to walk out of here a widower people feel sorry for. A man who lost his wife too soon. It's perfect. Rage and terror roared inside me. I blinked internally, mentally screaming without sound. But just in case, he whispered, leaning in again, I'll hurry things along after lunch. You won't feel a thing. He stood, brushed imaginary dust off his suit jacket, and walked toward the door. Just before he left, he turned back. Sometimes I wish you could see how good life will be once you're gone, he smiled. Too bad. The door clicked shut behind him. The sound was like a guillotine falling. My heart monitor shrieked. My breath hitched on the ventilator. My whole mind thrashed against my useless body. I was going to die today, he said it himself. He had a plan, and he had every intention of following through. But then, a blur of motion, a familiar face. Riley rushed into the room, shutting the door behind her so fast the curtain swayed. She was pale, really pale, shaking. Oh my God, she whispered. I heard everything, the phone, the recording, hidden behind the bed, proof. Her hands trembled as she grabbed the edge of the monitor to steady herself. That man, he's a monster. He's not panicking, he's rehearsing. She took a shaky breath. He's planned every detail, even the moment he wants you to die. She wiped tears quickly from her eyes. Alana, listen, we don't have hours. We don't even have 1 hour. He said he's going to the doctor after lunch. That's soon. My chest tightened. Panic surged through me. Riley stepped closer, lowering her voice. We're not waiting for a neurologist. We're not waiting for another nurse. We're not waiting for protocol. We're going straight to security. She reached under the bed and grabbed her phone, hands shaking. I have everything recorded, every sentence, every threat, every detail of his plan. She glanced toward the hallway as if she expected Aaron to return. But that's not all, she whispered. You reacted. She pointed to the heart monitor. You're aware. You understand. And that alone means he loses his legal power over you. She swallowed hard. Alana, you just saved your own life. But her relief vanished faster than it came. Footsteps echoed outside the door. Slow, heavy, deliberate. Riley froze. Her eyes widened. She mouthed, he's back. I wanted to scream, no, not now, not again. The footsteps stopped outside the door. A hand tested the handle. Riley moved fast, so fast I could hardly track her. She flipped the curtain closed. She slid the phone into her scrub pocket. She stood between me and the door like a shield. Another twist of the handle. Then Aaron's voice. Riley, is my wife awake for the doctor's afternoon check? Riley's face hardened in a way I had never seen before. She whispered without turning her head, "Don't you worry. I'm not letting him touch you." Then she raised her voice and called out, "Oh, Mr. Pierce, I need to speak with you in the hallway." Her tone was polite, but the storm in her eyes told me something else. It was time to fight back. The moment Riley stepped into the hallway, the temperature of the world seemed to change. Even from inside my silent prison, I felt the tension crackle in the air. She pulled the door mostly shut behind her, leaving it open by an inch so she could still see me, still keep me in her line of protection. "Mr. Pierce," she said, her voice calm, polite, even professional, but there was steel underneath. Aaron's tone, however, was smooth and charming, the way he always sounded when he wanted something. "Yes, nurse, is something wrong? I was told the doctor needed me soon." Riley crossed her arms, blocking his view of the room. "There is something I need to clarify with you." "Oh?" He chuckled lightly. "Is it about her vitals? Her condition? I know it's bad. I'm prepared to make difficult choices." The way he said choices made my stomach twist. Riley didn't even blink. "This is actually about hospital policy." "Policy?" He sounded irritated already. "Yes. Policy requires that certain conversations happen privately with staff present and under supervision." She nodded toward the hallway. "Let's step to the consultation alcove. It's hospital protocol." He hesitated. I could hear him shift his weight, the soles of his expensive shoes scraping tile. "I don't think it's mandatory," Riley cut in gently. "No room for negotiation." Aaron sighed. "Fine. If this speeds things up." Their footsteps faded down the hall, but Riley kept the door cracked enough that I still caught their voices, fading but audible. When Riley spoke again, her tone was different, firm, measured, calculated. "Mr. Pierce, I need to ask you a few questions before the doctor sees you." "Questions?" He sounded annoyed, suspicious. "Yes, standard questions for spouses considering life support withdrawal." "Of course," Aaron said. "Ask whatever you need." Riley's voice sharpened just barely. "And these decisions, you are making them out of concern for her quality of life, correct?" "Obviously," he said quickly. "You're not motivated by other pressures, personal or financial," Aaron scoffed. "What are you implying?" "I'm not implying anything," Riley replied smoothly. "I'm following protocol. These questions are routine." But I could hear it. She was baiting him, testing him, seeing how far he'd go. Aaron let out a slow breath. "My wife wouldn't want to live like this. That's all." There was a pause. Then Riley asked the question that made my chest tighten. "And if she did wake up, if her awareness suddenly improved, would that change your decision?" Aaron's voice turned sharp. "Dangerous. It's not going to happen. But if it did?" Riley pressed gently. He didn't answer for a beat. "Then it won't. She's not coming back." A pause. "And frankly, even if she did, she wouldn't be the same. It's better this way." The chill that moved through me was like ice water. Riley didn't show a single crack in her voice. "I understand. Thank you for clarifying. I'll let the doctor know you're prepared to move forward." "Good," Aaron said. "I hope we can get this over with today." Riley's breath caught. "I'm sure the doctor will discuss all options." Their footsteps approached again. My heart thundered. The machines beeped erratically. Riley slipped back into the room first, her face composed but her eyes full of urgency. She shut the door completely this time, locking it. Quietly, subtly, then she leaned over me, whispering almost silently, "He's desperate, Alana, really desperate. He wants this done today. We don't have time." I blinked internally, panic slicing through me like a blade. She squeezed my hand gently. "Listen," she whispered, leaning even closer. "We have one chance, just one. I'm calling the charge nurse, security, and the attending physician. But they need proof that you're responsive." I tried to focus on her voice, to move something, anything. She continued, "You reacted when he talked before. If you can do it again, even something tiny, they'll have to treat you as conscious." I gathered everything inside me, every ounce of fear, every ounce of fury, every ounce of will. I aimed it at the only thing I could move, my eyelid. It flickered, then again. Riley gasped, not loudly, but with the stunned joy of someone seeing a sunrise after believing the world had ended. "You did it," she whispered. "You beautiful, stubborn, terrifyingly strong woman. You did it." The door handle rattled. Riley straightened instantly, mask falling back into place. "Come in," she called. The doctor entered, Dr. Hayes, followed by a senior nurse and a hospital security guard. Aaron stepped in behind them. "Is everything okay?" he asked, forcing concern into his voice. Dr. Hayes exhaled. "Mr. Pierce, we've had a development." Aaron stiffened. "What kind of development?" Riley stepped forward. Alana responded to verbal stimulus. Aaron froze. "No," he said flatly, "that's impossible." "It's not," Dr. Hayes replied. "We witnessed it, repeatedly." Aaron's voice cracked with anger he barely hid. "She's brain dead." "You said so yourself." "I never used that phrase," Dr. Hayes corrected quickly. "Her scans were inconclusive, but today she blinked to command and showed directional eye movement." Aaron swallowed hard. He wasn't breathing right. Panic flickered over his face, but only for a second before he forced it down. "This doesn't change anything," he snapped. "She's not cognitively aware, it's just reflex." Riley stepped forward, her tone firm. "It wasn't reflex. I tested her with non-physical commands." She followed them. Aaron's voice rose. "You're lying." Security stepped forward an inch. Dr. Hayes continued calmly. "Mr. Pierce, neurologically responsive patients cannot be considered for life support withdrawal. Legally or ethically, silence. A heavy silence." Then Aaron spoke in a voice that trembled with frustration. "You don't understand. She wouldn't want, she's aware." Riley cut in. Aaron turned on her sharply. "You don't know anything about our marriage." And then something snapped inside Riley. She didn't yell, she didn't tremble, she didn't flinch. She just said, "Actually, I know more than you think." My heart slammed against my ribs. Aaron's eyes narrowed. "What's that supposed to mean?" Riley's hand slipped into her pocket. She wrapped her fingers around something. I knew what it was, the recording, but she didn't pull it out yet. Instead, she stepped closer, her voice low and deadly calm. "It means this conversation isn't over. Not with a doctor, not with a nurse, and not with you." Aaron's eyes darted around the room, calculating, panicked, suspicious. He sensed the shift. He sensed danger. And for the first time since the accident, he sensed he might lose. The room thickened with tension, a pressure so heavy it felt like the air was turning solid. Aaron's jaw tightened. Dr. Hayes watched him closely. Security shifted their stance, subtly widening their position between him and my bed. Riley didn't blink. She stood just a little in front of me, shielding me with her body, her hand still in her pocket, gripping the phone that held the truth, the evidence, the words that could destroy Aaron's entire plan. Aaron sensed it. He felt it. Predators always recognize when the prey stops being prey. "What exactly do you think you know?" he asked, voice low, sharp, trembling with barely hidden rage. Riley tilted her head slightly, not defiant, but unafraid. "Enough," she said. "Enough to know that Alana isn't safe with you. Enough to know that you've been pressuring doctors to let her go. Enough to know you're rushing a decision most husbands can't bear to even discuss." Aaron forced a laugh, thin, brittle. "You're overstepping. This is a family matter. You're just a nurse." Riley's eyes didn't move. "And you're just a murderer who got sloppy." The room froze. Dr. Hayes looked stunned. The senior nurse gasped softly. Security stepped forward another half step. And Aaron's entire body stiffened, as though someone had plunged him into ice water. His mask slipped. Just for a second. Long enough for everyone to see the monster underneath. "You better watch what you're accusing me of," he growled. Riley didn't move. Her voice softened, not with fear, but with the weight of truth. "I'm not accusing." She took a small step closer. I'm repeating your own words. Aaron blinked just once, sharply. What the hell does that mean? It was time. Slowly, Riley pulled her hand from her pocket, and she held up her phone. Aaron's expression changed instantly. His eyes widened. His throat bobbed. His hand twitched. Because he knew. He knew exactly what was on that device. Riley's voice didn't rise. It didn't shake. It stayed horribly, beautifully calm. I recorded every word you said in this room, every threat, every plan, every lie you whispered while you thought she couldn't hear you. Aaron's breath hitched. That's illegal, he snapped. You can't just... Actually, Riley interrupted, hospital staff can legally record interactions when patient safety is at risk. And guess what you represent? Aaron opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Because he understood. He understood that everything he said, everything he planned, everything he whispered over what he believed was a dying body, was now evidence. Evidence strong enough to bury him. Riley continued, the file is backed up automatically. It's already synced to secure storage. Even if you steal this phone or destroy it, the files are safe. Aaron's composure cracked. He looked like a trapped animal, eyes darting, chest rising unevenly, panic spreading like poison under his skin. You don't understand, he said, voice shaking. You don't know the whole story. Riley stepped closer. Then enlighten us. His jaw clenched so hard a muscle jumped in his cheek. That woman, he jerked his head toward me, is not who you think she is. She ruined everything. She ruined my business. She ruined my life. I had no choice. Dr. Hayes interrupted sharply. Mr. Pierce, stop talking. Anything you say right now can and will be used against you. Aaron whipped toward him. She's not supposed to live, he shouted, his control snapping entirely. She was supposed to die in that crash. She should have been gone already. He stopped, realizing what he'd said, realizing he said it out loud, in front of a doctor, a nurse, a senior nurse, and a security officer. Riley's voice was quiet, deadly quiet. Thank you, she whispered. You just confirmed everything. Aaron staggered back like he'd been punched. I didn't mean that's not, you're twisting my words. No, Dr. Hayes said firmly, stepping forward. You twisted them yourself. Security placed a hand on Aaron's arm, not grabbing him yet, but ready. Aaron jerked away. This is ridiculous. She's brain dead. She's costing me, costing everyone. He stopped again. Too late, too revealing. Riley said, she's not brain dead. She responded to commands. Aaron's head whipped toward my bed. For the first time, he didn't look at me with contempt or annoyance or boredom. He looked at me with something worse, fear. You, he whispered, then louder, you're awake. My heart monitor blared, but not from fear. From something else, something bright, something sharp, something powerful. Yes, I was awake. I heard everything. I remembered everything, but all he saw was my unmoving body. You're lying, he told Riley. There's no proof, she responded. She blinked, Riley said. That's reflex. It wasn't reflex, Dr. Hayes said firmly. I tested her myself. She responded on command. Aaron's face contorted, rage twisting through every feature. No, she didn't. She can't. She wasn't supposed to. He stopped again. Riley's eyes narrowed. Wasn't supposed to what, Aaron? His mouth opened, but the door flew open before he could answer. An officer stepped inside, breathing hard, holding a tablet. Dr. Hayes, Nurse Riley, we've reviewed the recording. Aaron froze. The officer continued. There is enough evidence to detain Mr. Pierce for attempted murder and conspiracy to commit homicide. Aaron's breath came out in a strangled gasp. No, he whispered. No, this is insane. Riley turned toward me, her eyes softening. It's almost over, she said gently. Aaron made a break for the door. Security moved instantly. In one practiced motion, they spun him around, pinned his arms, and cuffed him. He thrashed, screaming, "You can't do this. She's lying. She's not even, she's... His voice cracked. His words dissolved. Finally, reality swallowed him whole. As they dragged him toward the door, he spat venom in my direction. You should have died when you had the chance. Riley stepped directly between us, voice steady and ice cold, but she didn't, and then Aaron was gone. The door slammed behind him. Silence swept the room. Riley slowly let out a breath she'd been holding for hours. Then she turned to me, eyes shining with relief. "You're safe now, Alana." But deep inside, I knew something she didn't. Aaron wasn't the only danger. There was someone else. Someone he'd whispered to. Someone who hadn't been caught yet, the mistress, Marissa, and she was still out there. The room felt lighter after Aaron was dragged away, like someone had cracked a window in a suffocating cell. But beneath that breath of relief, beneath the safety everyone thought we'd finally secured, I knew better. There was a second shadow in this story, a second threat, someone Aaron trusted enough to whisper to while planning my death. Marissa. I could still hear her voice in my memory, low, sugary, poisonous. "She'll never know. Trust me. I'm doing this for us. After she's gone, we can finally start over." She wasn't just a mistress. She was the architect with him, the co-conspirator. And she wasn't in handcuffs. She wasn't even in the hospital. She was out there watching, maybe, waiting, planning her next move. Riley didn't know that yet. Dr. Hayes didn't know that yet. The officer in the hall didn't know that yet. But I did, and I needed to tell them fast. Riley came closer to check on my vitals, her voice soft and trembling with adrenaline. "You're safe now, Alana. It's all going to be okay." I blinked once, slowly, deliberately. "No," she noticed instantly. Her smile faded. Her eyebrows pulled together. "What is it?" I blinked again. Once. Hard. Her eyes widened. "You're saying it's not over?" I blinked once. "Yes." Dr. Hayes stepped to the bedside. "What's she communicating?" Riley grabbed the letterboard. Her voice lowered. "She's saying there's something else." "Something else?" The doctor echoed. I blinked once. "Yes." Riley held up the board. "Okay, Alana, is it a person?" I blinked once. "Yes." "Someone involved?" One blink. "Yes." "Someone we haven't arrested yet?" My heart monitor spiked. One blink sharp. "Yes." Riley looked at Dr. Hayes. "We need more officers in here." He nodded at a nurse who rushed out. "Okay," Riley continued gently. "We're going to spell this out. Start with the first letter." She pointed to the first row. "AF." I blinked at M, then at A, then R, then I, then S, then S, then A. She froze. Her lips parted. Whisper soft, she said, "Marissa." Dr. Hayes stiffened. "Who is Marissa?" Riley swallowed hard. "The mistress." He closed his eyes, exhaling sharply. "The detective needs to know. Immediately." Before Riley could move toward the door, it swung open, fast, abrupt, loud enough to make the monitors spike. Everyone jumped, and there she was, Marissa, in a pale pink trench coat, hair perfectly curled, lips glossy, eyes filled with concern that twisted into something darker when she saw Aaron was gone. "Oh, thank God," she gasped. "Is it true? Did you really arrest him?" Her voice didn't match her face. Her face didn't match her eyes. Nothing matched. Something in her was wrong, unhinged. She didn't even look at me first. She looked at Riley, at Dr. Hayes, at the police officer behind them. She was assessing, calculating, the way a spider looks at a web after something bumps against it. "Where is he?" she demanded. The officer stepped forward. "Ma'am, you need to leave. This is a private medical area." She cut him off, voice rising. "I have a right to know what's going on. Aaron told me everything." Riley's mouth fell open. Dr. Hayes stared at her. "Everything?" So she admitted involvement without being asked. The officer took a firmer stance. "Ma'am, you're going to need to come with me." Marissa stepped back, shaking her head violently. "No, no, I'm not going anywhere until someone tells me what she pointed directly at me, said." Riley shot a panicked look at the doctor. "How does she know Alana said anything?" Marissa froze. Her lips clamped shut. Too late, her eyes darted around, looking for an escape. "You shouldn't be awake," she whispered toward me. "You weren't supposed to be awake." She said it so softly the officer almost missed it. But Riley heard, Dr. Hayes heard. I felt it. Every trauma memory in my body lit up like a warning flare. The officer stepped forward. Ma'am, please turn around. You're being detained for questioning. Marissa lunged. Not toward the door, not toward the officer, not toward Riley, toward me. Her eyes were wild, unfocused, desperate. She wasn't supposed to wake up. She screamed, reaching for my ventilator tubing. I'm not going to prison for her. I'm not. Riley moved before anyone else. She grabbed Marissa mid-lunge, slamming her back against the wall so hard the equipment rattled. Don't touch her, Riley roared. The officer rushed in, cuffing Marissa as she thrashed and screamed. She ruined everything. We were supposed to be free. He promised me she'd be gone. Her screams grew strangled as the cuffs clicked tighter. Riley, shaking hard, leaned over my bed. Are you okay? Are you okay? Blink if you're okay. I blinked once, slow, shaken, but okay. Marissa was dragged out of the room, still screaming, still fighting, still insisting she was the real victim. The door slammed. Silence. Riley's hands trembled as she brushed my forehead. My God, she whispered. If we'd been a second slower. Dr. Hayes let out a long, rattled breath. We need to move her to a secure unit, he said. No visitors except vetted medical staff and law enforcement. I blinked once, yes. I needed safety, real safety. But more than that, more than safety, something bigger rose in my chest, hope. For the first time since the crash, I felt the smallest flicker of control returning to my life. But this wasn't over yet. There was still the investigation. There was still the trial. There was still the truth that needed to come out in full. And there was one more thing, the thing I'd feared more than both of them. Aaron wasn't working alone. Not just with Marissa. There was someone else. Someone Aaron trusted even more. Someone who had access to my life, my routine, my car. And I knew who it was. The room was quiet after Marissa's screams faded down the hall, but it wasn't a peaceful quiet. It was the kind of silence that comes after a hurricane, the kind where debris is still settling, where your heartbeat is louder than anything else around you. Riley stood close to my bedside, arms shaking, eyes wide. She had practically saved my life twice now. First, when she noticed I could blink, and now, when she stopped a woman mid-attack who had every intention of killing me. But even as she tried to calm herself with deep breaths, I felt the panic rising in my own chest, because Marissa wasn't the end, not even close. Aaron had whispered to someone else in those secret late-night conversations, someone with authority, someone who could help him clean things up if anything went wrong. I didn't know their name, but I remembered their voice, and its cold, controlled tone made Aaron sound like a scared little boy. Riley gently squeezed my hand. It's over, okay? They've taken her. You're safe now. I blinked twice. No, she frowned. You're saying it's not over? One blink. Yes. Her shoulders stiffened and she immediately reached for the letterboard again. Okay, Alana, she murmured. Who else? But this time the terror in my veins wasn't the same sharp panic from Marissa's attack. This time it was heavier, darker, made of something ancient that lived in my bones. Because the person Aaron talked to wasn't reckless like Marissa. They weren't emotional or impulsive. They were calm, cold, strategic. They were dangerous in a way neither Aaron nor Marissa ever could be. And worse, they were still free. Riley placed the board in my line of sight. Let's spell this out, she whispered. Start with the first letter. She lifted her finger to the AF row. I blinked at N. She paused. N? Her voice dropped to a whisper. Okay. Next letter. I blinked at you, Riley's eyes widened. New. Next letter. I blinked at R. She inhaled sharply. Ner. Next letter. I blinked at S. Riley froze. Nurse? She whispered. You're saying it was a nurse? My heart monitor beeped faster. One blink, yes. Riley stumbled back like she'd been slapped. What nurse? Do you know a name? I blinked twice. No, just a voice, a horrible, familiar voice. One I'd heard whispering to Aaron more than once, late at night while pretending to check my chart. A voice saying things like, just stay calm, She won't last long with that injury. They'll believe whatever you tell them. You'll be free soon. My blood ran cold. Dr. Hayes stepped forward, his expression darkening. What's she telling you? Riley swallowed. She's saying one of our nurses was involved with Aaron. The doctor went completely still. Which one? He asked quietly. She doesn't know the name. Only the voice. Hayes exhaled slowly. There are 23 nurses in this wing. Riley looked horrified. You're telling me any of them could be... No, Hayes said quickly. Not all. Only staff with badge access during the night shift would have had private time near Alana's room. That narrowed it down, but not nearly enough to make me feel safe. The doctor continued, voice firm and low. I'll have administration pull access logs for the last 2 months. We'll find out exactly who entered her room after hours. Riley's jaw tightened. And until then, we increased security, he said. No more rotating staff, only 2 nurses assigned to her care, myself and 1 other. Riley blinked. You're picking me, right? Of course, he said. But Riley didn't look relieved. She looked shaken. Because if a nurse, someone who wore the same uniform she did, was part of Aaron's plan, that meant the threat wasn't just outside the hospital walls. It could have been standing beside her at the nurse's station, laughing with her during lunch, helping her with patient charts. I blinked at Riley to get her attention. Her eyes softened. Yes? What is it? I blinked once, slow, reassuring. She let out a breath she'd been holding. You don't think it's me? I blinked twice. No. Her eyes watered with relief. Okay, she whispered. Okay, we'll figure out who it is. The door opened, and the detective who had arrested Aaron stepped inside. Officer Grayson. His face held the look of someone who'd heard a lot but wasn't prepared for this. What happened to Marissa? He asked. She tried to attack Alana, Riley said sharply. She aimed for her ventilator. Grayson swore under his breath. She's being taken downtown. We'll add attempted homicide to her charges. Then his gaze flicked to me. But that's not why you asked for me, is it? Riley shook her head and explained everything all the way to the spelled out word, nurse. Grayson didn't interrupt even once. His jaw clenched tighter with every sentence. When she finished, he exhaled through his nose. So Aaron had help inside the hospital. One blink, yes. This just got a hell of a lot bigger. He pulled out a small notebook from his jacket. Alana, I need you to focus. Do you remember anything about the voice, pitch, accent, gender? I blinked once. What was it? He pressed gently. He waited. Riley lifted the letterboard. We spelled it out slowly, Monotone. He nodded, monotone, no emotion, no personality, clinical. He looked at the doctor. That narrows it down more than you think. Dr. Hayes frowned. How so? The detective gave him a cold smile. Because every nurse on your staff has been interviewed at some point, and only 3 have been described as monotone by patients, coworkers, even hospital reviews. Riley inhaled sharply. 3 out of 23? He nodded. And 2 of them were on shift the night of her crash. The doctor went pale. Who? Grayson looked at me as he spoke. Before I say the names, Alana, I want you to listen closely. If you remember even a single detail, anything, it might save your life. I blinked once. Ready. He opened his notebook. The first nurse is... The fire alarm suddenly blared through the hospital. A shrill, pulsing scream. Lights flashed red. Chaos erupted in the hallway. Running footsteps, shouting, doors slamming. Riley jolted toward the door. What the hell? The doctor checked the wall panel. Someone triggered an emergency evacuation in this wing. Grayson's voice turned deadly calm. Someone's trying to clear the floor so they can get to her. My blood ran ice cold. This wasn't over, not even close. The fire alarm scream pierced the entire wing so loud the metal bed frame vibrated. Red strobes flashed rhythmically across the walls, painting everything in a frantic, pulsing panic. Riley spun toward the door. Dr. Hayes froze mid-step. Detective Grayson's hand flew immediately to the weapon at his hip. But me? My heart monitor exploded into a rapid, terrified beeping because I knew this wasn't a real fire. This wasn't an accident. This was a strategy, a distraction, a diversion, a way to force staff to evacuate rooms, to leave patients unattended, to create chaos, to get to me. Dr. Hayes quickly slapped the emergency override panel beside the door. A robotic voice blared through the speakers, code red. All staff evacuate patients East Wing. No, Riley gasped. No way. Someone knew she was here. Someone triggered this on purpose. Detective Grayson nodded grimly. They're trying to isolate the room. We stay inside. No one leaves, and no one enters without my confirmation. But even he knew the danger, because fire alarms in hospitals automatically release certain doors after 60 seconds to prevent people from becoming trapped. Dr. Hayes checked the countdown blinking on the panel. 054, 053, 052. We need to lock this place down now, he snapped. If those doors open, every hallway on this floor becomes accessible. Riley moved toward my bed, gripping the rails. Alana, listen to me, she said breathlessly. I won't let anyone touch you. You hear me? I blinked once, hard. Yes. But fear clawed up my throat like a living thing. Grayson stepped into the hallway for one split second to assess. Then he slammed the door shut again. They've already evacuated half the floor, he said. Staff are moving patients out. Whoever the accomplice is, they'll blend right in. We won't be able to identify them until they're already inside this room. Riley's face drained of color. Hayes checked the timer. 041, 040. Detective, he said sharply. If we barricade the door, we can't barricade. Grayson cut in. Fire code. Sprinklers will activate. We'll drown in here. What are our options then? Riley demanded. He pulled his radio from his belt, pressed the button. This is Detective Grayson. Need immediate backup to ICU East Wing. Possible threat attempting patient access under evacuation protocol. Static. Then nothing. Riley blinked. What? Why is it quiet? Grayson swore. Someone's jamming communications. My heart rate spiked so fast the monitor shrieked. This wasn't just a plan, this was a mission. Someone was determined, desperate to finish what Aaron had started. Someone who knew procedures. Someone inside the hospital. Someone calm enough to hide among a crowd of nurses while pulling the alarm and disabling radios. The third conspirator, Riley grabbed the letterboard and held it instinctively near my face. Alana, do you know if it's a man or woman? I blinked once, yes. But before we could continue, 030. The sprinkler system clicked. A low rumble filled the ceiling. Grayson straightened. This is it. They'll use the alarm as cover. Everyone will be wearing masks, face shields, medical gear. We need to move Alana somewhere safe. Safe? Riley echoed. Where? Hayes answered. The supply room. It's behind 2 doors and off evacuation routes. It's our best chance. The problem? I was on a ventilator. I was wired to 10 machines. Moving me meant disconnecting some of them. Hayes turned to Riley. We can disconnect everything except the ventilator. We take the portable oxygen tank and wheel her fast. Riley's face twisted. And if the killer is already disguised in the hallway, Grayson's voice dropped. Then we move faster. Hayes hit a sequence of buttons activating manual override on my bed brackets. Riley, remove her 4-line from the pump, but keep the catheter in place. We'll reconnect later. Riley worked with trembling hands but surgical efficiency. Alarms on my machines blared warnings as they were disconnected one by one. My lungs tightened. My body felt exposed, vulnerable. Hayes grabbed the portable ventilator, connected the tubing swiftly, and unclamped the flow. Air filled my lungs again in even, mechanical breaths. Okay, he said. Let's move her. 014, 013. Grayson unlocked the emergency brake on the bed. We go on my signal. The hallway outside grew louder. Rushing gurneys, shouting nurses, crackling speakers, blaring alarms, splashing sprinklers. Someone could be out there, right outside, waiting. 010, 009, 08. Grayson put his hand on the door handle, his jaw tightened. Stay close, eyes sharp, and do not stop moving. Riley nodded, gripping the bed rail. Hayes flanked the other side. 005, 004, 003, 002, 001. Click. All hallway doors unlocked automatically. Grayson swung the door open. Chaos hit us instantly. Patients in wheelchairs and rolling beds streamed past, nurses shouting over each other, sprinklers spraying sheets of water, floor slippery, lights flashing red, masks hiding faces. Anyone could be the killer. Grayson scanned every face we passed. Riley pushed my bed as fast as she could without losing control. Hayes kept the ventilator tank steady. But then a figure stepped out from behind a medication cart. A nurse in teal scrubs, mask on, hair tucked away, face shield reflecting red alarm lights. I recognized the posture first, then the walk. My heart felt like it stopped. It was them, the voice, the shadow, the one who said, "Don't worry, she won't last. You'll be free soon." They stepped toward us. Riley froze mid-push. The doctor paled. Grayson reached for his gun. The nurse tilted their head slowly, as if analyzing which of us to eliminate first. Then they said it, the same calm, emotionless voice I'd heard while trapped in my own body. "You're making this harder than it needed to be." Riley gasped. Dr. Hayes whispered, "Oh my God." And I, in that helpless bed, felt cold terror fill my veins. The real mastermind wasn't Aaron, wasn't Marissa. It was the nurse standing right in front of us. The moment that voice slipped through the chaos, everything inside me froze solid. That calm, even emotionless tone. The same one I'd heard in the darkest nights while trapped inside my body. The same one that whispered instructions to Aaron right beside my unconscious face. My blood turned to ice. Riley's breath hitched. Dr. Hayes instinctively stepped closer to my bed. Detective Grayson's fingers tightened around the grip of his gun. The masked nurse took one slow, deliberate step toward us. Then another. Their footsteps didn't mimic the frantic rush of an evacuation. They were steady, controlled, predatory. "Stop right there!" Grayson barked. The nurse didn't. They kept advancing, water from the sprinklers dripping down their face shield like tears. Grayson took 2 steps forward, planting himself between them and me. I said, "Stop." Finally, the figure halted, but their posture didn't change. Their breathing didn't change, their voice didn't change. "You don't need to make this a scene," they said. "Just hand her over." Riley's gasp cut through the alarm noise. It was the kind of sound a person makes when their mind finally clicks a terrifying puzzle piece into place. You're Nurse Ellis," she whispered. A soft, humorless chuckle escaped from behind the mask. "So you finally figured it out." Dr. Hayes looked shattered. "Ellis, one of my ICU leads?" "I trusted you. That was your mistake," Ellis replied calmly. "You trusted everyone." They shifted their gaze toward me, and even through the plastic face shield, I felt them staring directly into my soul. "You made this harder than it needed to be," Ellis said. "You weren't supposed to be awake. You weren't supposed to remember." My chest tightened. So it was them. The cool clinical voice that whispered to Aaron during night shift assessments. The one who said, "She's stable for now, but these things take a turn." The one who reassured him that ventilated patients rarely last. The one who promised, "If anything goes wrong, I'll take care of it." Detective Grayson's voice cut through the moment. "Ellis, I swear to God, take one more step and I will shoot." Ellis didn't look scared, didn't even flinch. "I've been part of this hospital for 11 years, Detective. I know exactly how long it takes for backup to arrive when communication is jammed. I know every blind spot in this wing. I know every place you're allowed and not allowed to fire your weapon." And then they said something colder than anything yet, "And I know you won't risk hitting the patient." A small, dead smile curled under the mask. "So really, you have no leverage." Riley's hands tightened around the bed rail so hard her knuckles turned white. "You helped Aaron try to kill her," she whispered. "Why? Why would you do this?" Ellis finally showed a flicker of emotion, not regret, not guilt, Resentment. This hospital destroys people, Ellis said bitterly. 11 years of double shifts, understaffing, being ignored, being blamed, being invisible, no recognition, no respect. Their eyes sharpened. Aaron was the first person who saw value in me. Dr. Hayes took a step forward. You gave him access to patient files. You tampered with the logs. You lied on charts. Yes, Ellis said simply. You altered her medication levels. Riley whispered, horror in her voice. Yes, you sabotaged her ventilator settings on day 3. Yes, you told Erin she wouldn't last the week. Yes. Ellis's monotone didn't waver, not once. And when she didn't die on schedule? Grayson said, his voice lethal. Ellis tilted their head. We adapt. The hallway lights flickered violently as the alarm cycled. Steam rose from the soaked floor. Wet footsteps echoed all around us. Patients, nurses, techs rushing by. Any one of them could be a threat. But only one was looking at me like I was already dead. Ellis stepped forward again. Move aside, they said. Let me finish what you failed to do, Riley snapped. All the fear in her body ignited into fury. Over my dead body. Ellis didn't blink. If that's what it takes. The standoff shattered in an instant. Ellis lunged. Not at Grayson, not at Hayes. At the ventilator tubing, the lifeline keeping air flowing into my lungs. Riley screamed, "No!" Detective Grayson tackled Ellis mid-lunge. They slammed into the wet floor, sliding across it. The portable ventilator nearly toppled over, but Dr. Hayes caught it just in time. Ellis writhed and twisted with terrifying strength, not wild like Marissa, but controlled, surgical, focused on one goal, me. Even restrained, even pinned, they reached for a drop pair of trauma scissors lying on a nearby crash cart. They grabbed them. "Grayson!" Riley screamed. "The scissors!" But he already saw. Ellis swung the sharp metal toward him. He jerked back, narrowly avoiding a slice across his throat. The scissors clattered to the ground. Ellis scrambled for them again. Riley got there first. With no hesitation, she kicked them down the hall hard enough that they skidded 20 feet away beneath a rolling bed. Ellis snarled, actually snarled, and went for the ventilator again. But this time, Grayson had leverage. He wrestled Ellis's arms behind their back and slammed their face shield into the floor. "You're done," he shouted. Ellis didn't fight for freedom. They didn't try to run. They kept staring at me, eyes unblinking. "You should have died," they whispered. "You were supposed to die." Riley covered her mouth, choking back a sob. Dr. Hayes stepped in, helping Grayson restrain them. Within moments, backup officers flooded the hall, rushing through the alarm fog like an emergency response wave. 2 officers took custody of Ellis, dragging them up from the floor, water dripping from their scrubs. But Ellis kept their head turned toward me the whole time. And right before they were taken out of view, they said something that made my entire body go cold. "This isn't over. You were just the beginning." Riley grabbed my hand. "It is over," she whispered fiercely. "We won. You're safe." But as the alarms fell silent and the doors locked again, I wasn't sure, because Ellis wasn't talking about Aaron or Marissa or themselves. They were talking about something bigger, something we hadn't uncovered yet. They were talking about the reason Aaron tried to kill me in the first place, a reason I still didn't know, but I was about to find out. The alarms finally cut off with a harsh metallic click, leaving behind a ringing silence that felt even louder than the chaos before it. Water still dripped from the ceiling in steady rhythms, pooling on the floor like scattered shards of broken glass. Ellis was gone, dragged down the hall in cuffs beneath flickering red strobes. Aaron was already in police custody. Marissa would be facing charges by now. 3 threats, 3 people who had tried to erase me. But the way Ellis looked at me, the way they said you were just the beginning, that wasn't a threat, it was a clue. Something bigger had been working in the background, something Aaron hadn't orchestrated alone, something that didn't start or end with him. Riley leaned over me, breath still shaky, hair plastered to her forehead from the sprinklers. Her voice wavered between anger and relief. I swear, if one more person tries to kill you today. She didn't finish the sentence. Didn't need to. Dr. Hayes adjusted the portable ventilator settings, trying to stabilize me after the chaos. Your vitals are all over the place, he said softly. Let's get you to a secure room. No more ICU traffic. Detective Grayson wiped water from his face, scanning the hallway even now. We're not moving her until the entire unit is cleared, he said firmly. No more surprises. Riley let out a shaky sigh of agreement, but I blinked once. No. She caught it immediately. What is it, Alana? I blinked again, hard. Riley leaned closer. You're saying you're still in danger? One blink. Yes. Dr. Hayes looked horrified. But how? Ellis was the one who... I blinked twice. No. Riley grabbed the letterboard again, holding it near my face. Okay, tell us. Slowly, painfully, I spelled AARONWASN. TTHEONLYONE. Grayson froze mid-step. What do you mean he wasn't the only one? I continued spelling THEREISANOTHERPLAN. Riley's eyes widened. Another plan? Another attempt? One blink. Yes. Grayson took out his notebook. Alana, you need to tell me everything you remember, anything you heard, anything Aaron or Ellis or Marissa said. Details matter now. He moved closer, lowering his voice so only we could hear. What else is coming? My mind flashed back to a night 3 days after the crash, my body paralyzed, my brain awake, my ears the only weapon I had. Aaron had been pacing the room, whispering urgently into his phone. Not to Marissa, not to Ellis, to someone else, someone who never once visited the hospital, someone who spoke only once. And that voice, even remembering it, made my skin crawl. Smooth, low, calm, authoritative, a voice that didn't ask, a voice that gave orders. Riley held the board steady again. Letter by letter, I spelled AMAN. Grayson nodded tightly. Good, keep going. DEEP5OICE. Hayes frowned. Someone older, younger, did they ever say a name? I blinked twice, no, but I remembered something else, something Aaron said afterward, thinking I was unconscious. He said he'll handle the rest. I just have to finish my part, finish his part, finish me. I spelled AARONSAIDHESHANDLINGTHEREST. Riley stepped back, hand over her mouth. What? The rest of what? I blinked toward the board. Emmy, Grayson's jaw tightened. So someone else planned the attempt. Aaron and Ellis carried it out. Marissa helped cover it up. But someone above all of them orchestrated this. I blinked once. Yes. Grayson straightened, the gravity of the situation settling hard on him. This wasn't about money, he said slowly. This was bigger than greed. Bigger than an affair. Bigger than jealousy. Riley looked pale. You mean someone wanted her dead for another reason? Grayson met her eyes. Yes. Another memory surfaced. A whispered sentence from Aaron, spoken in absolute terror, not anger. I told you I would handle it. She found the files by accident. The files. The ones on his laptop. The ones I thought were financial records. The ones he had slammed shut the moment I walked in. I blinked frantically, trying to get the board. We need to raise her bed, Riley whispered, quickly adjusting me upright. Okay, Alana, show us. Slowly, I spelled FILES. Grayson's eyes widened. What kind of files? I spelled HEWASWORKINGWITHTHEM. Who? Hayes whispered. I blinked toward the board again. Letter by miserable letter, I wrote. ACONTRACTGROUP. The moment the word contract formed, Grayson went rigid. Contract killer group? I blinked once. Yes, Riley gasped. Dr. Hayes took a step back. Grayson pressed his hands to his temples. You're telling me Aaron Pierce hired or was coerced into working with a group that takes out targets for money, and you became a target? I blinked once. Yes, but why? Riley asked, voice climbing. I spelled IFOUNDTHEPAPERS. Riley's face twisted. What papers? Painfully slow, I continued. TRAFFICKING. Hayes nearly dropped the medical chart in his hands. Riley stumbled backward like she'd been punched. But Grayson, he didn't move. His face twisted into a grim, horrifying understanding. He whispered, your husband wasn't just running a business. I blinked once. Yes, he was involved in trafficking. One blink. Yes, and you found proof. Another blink. Yes, Riley whispered, oh my God. Dr. Hayes sat down heavily, but Grayson's face hardened into steel. Then you're not just a victim of attempted murder, he said slowly. You're a key witness. My heart rate soared because he was right. I was the one person who saw those files, the one person who could testify, the one person who knew the truth. And the contract group, they didn't tolerate loose ends. Grayson leaned in close. Alana, if you found trafficking evidence, then the man Aaron called isn't just some accomplice. He paused. He's the man in charge. And if Ellis was part of this, then this group already infiltrated the hospital. Riley whispered, which means... Grayson finished for her, they won't stop until Alana is dead. Silence fell, heavy, crushing, hopeless. But then Grayson lifted his radio again. Get me federal protection, now. Static. Then finally a voice. Copy that, detective. Units en route. Hayes exhaled shakily. Riley took my hand again. You're not dying today, she whispered fiercely. I don't care who they send. I'm not letting anyone near you. But deep inside me, past the fear, past the trauma, past the machines breathing for me, a spark lit. I would live, and I would testify, and I would bring them all down, including the man at the top. For the first time since the crash, the room wasn't filled with machines or alarms or the sound of someone plotting my death. Instead, it was filled with urgency, a different kind, a protective kind. Detective Grayson paced near the door, phone at his ear, speaking in rapid, clipped sentences. Yes, federal witness protection. No, this isn't a request. She's a trafficking witness and an attempted murder survivor. We need relocation, medical transport, undercover detail, tonight, not tomorrow, tonight. Riley hovered by my side, refusing to let go of my hand, not even for a second. Dr. Hayes reviewed my chart with shaky hands, still processing everything I'd spelled out in the last hour. They thought the danger outside this room had ended. Now they knew better. Aaron was just the dirty tip of a much sharper blade. And that blade was still out there, waiting for the chance to finish what it started. My survival wasn't just inconvenient for them, it was catastrophic. I had evidence, knowledge, a timeline, faces, voices, and most importantly, I had lived, Riley whispered almost to herself. They're going to protect you. They have to. I blinked once. Yes, but deep inside I knew the truth. They wouldn't stop coming. Not yet. Not until the leader of this organization, the man with the deep voice, was identified, arrested, and exposed. Someone like that didn't send subordinates to do one job. They sent waves. Hayes approached the bedside. Alana, we're preparing your transfer to a secure medical unit downtown. A federal guard will be assigned to you as soon as they arrive. I blinked once. Good. But something still gnawed at me. Something important. Something missing. And then it clicked. I spelled slowly on the letterboard, CHECKMYCAR. Riley frowned. Your car? I blinked once. Yes. Grayson hung up his call and turned toward us. What about your car? I spelled HEPLANEDITHEWASNTALONE. Grayson, step closer. You're saying there's more evidence in your wrecked vehicle? I spelled PLEASECHECK. He nodded, immediately pulling out his phone again. I'll have a forensics team re-examine it today. Then he looked me dead in the eyes with a seriousness that sent chills through the room. You're not just surviving this, Alana. You're going to destroy them. Within minutes, voices filled the hallway, police, special agents, federal security units. The hospital wing transformed into a fortress. Steel doors sealed behind us. Armed guards took position. The sprinklers shut off. The alarms faded. But the tension didn't, because everyone understood now. The people who wanted me dead weren't just desperate. They were intelligent, organized, connected, and completely willing to infiltrate a hospital to kill a defenseless patient on life support. Riley brushed my hair back, her hands still trembling. I'm not leaving your side, she whispered. I blinked twice. No, she frowned. You want me to stay? Blink. Yes. Tears filled her eyes. Okay, I'll stay. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Dr. Hayes approached the bed again. We need to stabilize your vitals before transport. You've been through too much adrenaline today. He adjusted my ventilator, my 4S, the heart monitor. But my mind wasn't on my vitals. It was on that last conversation I overheard. The final words Aaron said before the crash. Tell him I didn't mean to mess up. Tell him I'll fix it. Tell him she won't be a problem much longer. Tell him, the leader, the voice, the one who recruited Ellis, the one who promised Marissa protection, the one who pressured Aaron into murder. I blinked hard, signaling Riley. She leaned close. What is it? Grayson moved to the other side. You remembered something? I blinked once. Yes, letterboard time. Slowly, painfully, I spelled HEWASWATCHING. Riley's eyes widened. Watching what? I began again. AARONSAID Grayson stiffened. Watching from where? I blinked twice. I didn't know. But then I remembered one night when Aaron whispered on the phone, thinking I was unconscious. He said, he already saw the house. He knows where she keeps the laptop. Wait, the house. My house. Grayson immediately caught the implication. Hazard team, he shouted into the hall. I want a search warrant for the residence. Someone check for hidden surveillance, cameras, listening devices now. My chest tightened. Had they been watching me before the crash? Tracking me, listening inside my own home? Riley squeezed my hand. What do you remember about the files? She asked softly. Any name, any pattern, anything we can use? I spelled WOMENTRANSFERS Riley covered her mouth. Oh, God. Grayson's voice dropped to ice. That means Alana wasn't just a threat because she knew they targeted her, because the entire network could collapse if she talked. He leaned closer to me. Alana, when you survive this, and you will, you're going to bring down one of the biggest trafficking rings in the state. I blinked once. Yes, because surviving wasn't just for me anymore. It was for every woman whose name was in those files, every person who didn't get a chance to escape, every victim they silenced. But I wasn't silent anymore. I was speaking with blinks, with letters, with memory, and they had underestimated me one time too many. A federal agent stepped into the room. Detective Grayson, secure medical transport is here, he nodded. Then he turned to me. Alana, your fight isn't over. I blinked once. I knew. It's going to get worse before it gets better, he said. They will come after you again. My pulse thumped, but I blinked again. I know. But you're not alone anymore, he added. You have the police, the feds, medical staff, and evidence strong enough to burn their entire organization to the ground. He leaned closer. And when you testify, they'll never hurt anyone again. Riley squeezed my hand harder. You hear that? You're going to end them, Alana. For good. For the first time since waking up in that trapped, silent nightmare, I felt something warm in my chest. Not fear, not pain, strength. I blinked once. Ready. They tried to kill me. They tried 3 times. They tried with cars, poison, ventilators, knives. But I was still alive, still breathing, still fighting, still remembering. And now I had something they never expected, a voice, one blink, the signal Riley now knew by heart. I'm with you, she whispered. Grayson said, let's move her. And as they wheeled me toward the secure unit, away from danger, toward justice, I knew this wasn't just survival, this was the beginning of the end.